But what about Najee? And what about the fact he led the league in touches last season? You know? And that with running backs, here's the deal. The Washington Post did a great piece on this, Ron, titled NFL running backs don't just need better contracts, they need a better CBA. Check this out. Since 2002, running backs have peaked between the ages of 23 and 26. That's true whether we look at rushing yards, touchdowns, yards from scrimmage, or total touchdowns. 3/4 of running backs will peak sometime within that window, and nearly half of them do it at 23 or 24. In other words, the piece says, a running back selected in the draft will most likely peak while under that initial 4 or 5 year contract, leaving little incentive for GMs and owners to commit premium salary cap space to a declining player. All of which I would just say very simply, the odds are against Najee Harris striking it big, as they are against every running back who comes into the league.
Right, and he's a first-round pick, so the Steelers have him for 5 years.
Yes.
And what are they going to want to do with him after 5 years? I'm thinking put him out to the curb.
Yeah. Now, the 5th year, if they pick up that option, he'll make a very nice salary. But, man, that's
a long way away and a lot of hits away, isn't it?
It's a lifetime away in NFL years, especially if they – and I don't blame. Here's the question for you and I and people out there at 412-928-9370. I wouldn't blame Mike Tomlin a bit for having him lead the league in touches every year. Some people think that's crazy. If I had him, I'd do it too. You?
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to occasionally give him a little more of a break than Tomlin did last year, but they don't really have a guy that they feel comfortable doing that with. I mean, I don't think it hurts to take a series off every now and then.
Yeah, but you're still going to run. You're still going to use. You're still going to give him 350 or 320.
There's no doubt. But I mean, I thought they could have found a way to give him a little bit of a break last year.
Yeah. Here's the average salary. Here's how much running backs have been devalued. Again, for good reason. Under the current system, they simply wear it, obviously, right? Running backs, especially the way, as you mentioned, Najee played, he would take 10 hits. He had more hats on him, and somebody must keep a stat for this. He had more hats on him than any running back I've ever seen. He would have 6 guys bring him down at times.
And that's what I mean. He would keep fighting, and then sometimes you just got to learn you can't win that particular battle.
Here's the average salary throughout the NFL. Quarterback. And this is just, forget about guaranteed signing bonus, whatever. The average salary, $5.3 million. Wide receiver, $2 million and rising. Tight end, $1.8 million. Offensive lineman, 2.4. You want to break that? Left tackle. Left tackles have a higher average salary than quarterbacks at $6.4 million. Guard, center, all over 2. Defensive line, 2.6. You can break that down, 2.6, 2.5 for ends and tackles. Linebackers, 2.4. Secondary, over $2 million, no matter who you're talking about. Corners, 2.04. Safeties, 2.02. Kickers, for God's sakes, 2.4.
Oh, my God.
Now we get to running backs. At 1.7, which is barely above your average special teamer. Not a kicker, guys who run down and make tackles. 1.6.
Miles Killebrews of the world.
Yes, and the Derek Watts. 1.6. Ron, they're right below running backs, and the only people significantly below them are long snappers and punters. Them are the facts. How about that?
That's surprising. That's why the general advice is don't draft a running back with your number 1 pick, right? Isn't that the general advice?
General advice, yes, and don't sign him to a second deal,
right,
for sure.
Right.
I'll give you one more thing on that. Why did it get to be that way? Just for everybody's knowledge, including mine, as I went to look this up. Because Najee's going to go into this year as the 21st highest paid back in the league, lower than Gus Edwards. He's making half as much as James Conner. He could be a top 5 back in the league, basically donating his body to the Steelers for the next 3 years as one of the better backs in the league. So listen to this. Why did it get to be that way? So we can all have the facts. Because back in 2011, for better or worse, veterans in the league, along with the league itself, decided rookies are making too much money. That's not going to happen anymore. So Andrew Brandt wrote about this. The CBA at that point, 2011, took a sledgehammer to the old rookie compensation model. Owners thought top rookies made too much, and so did veteran player leadership at the union. Don't forget about that. Najee or any other running back wants to go ask, why is this happening? You can go ask the older players in the league. Back to Brandt. Slashing the pay of incoming players who had no voice in the CBA negotiations was an easy item to add on the collective bargaining checklist. That's why. Because rookies, they don't have a voice. They have no advocate. They're not players
and
yet.
I can see why the veteran players don't want them to get the money they were getting. They'd rather have it going to the veterans.
But it backfired. I thought that too, but it backfired on them because now rookies are so cheap in some cases that they take jobs away from these guys.
Right. We'd rather have the young, inexpensive rookie versus the 5, 6, 7-year veteran.
The baseball model, right?
Right.
Forget about these guys in their 30s. We'll just get cheap labor in their 20s. So that's why it happened. But it happened, man. And now guys like Najee, more than any other position, are getting screwed over. I think, in the CBA.
No doubt. Like you said, he has 5 years here. I don't know that he'll see a 6-year here. He may not see a 5-year here.
In the meantime, I really like him. He's a really good player, and I would make great use of him, and I'm sure Pickett and the Steelers will, whenever Pickett takes over. And he also talked about Deontay being different. And Deontay he's got his strengths, that's for sure. Ben called him, quote, unguardable. At the line, he's impossible to corral.
He's just so sleek.
Yes.
Sleek and smooth.
Yes. And for Pickett and Trubisky, they can take great advantage of that, I think they're going to have good receivers, Ron. I do.
I think so, too.
They have all the ingredients to have them. They've got everything you would want.
You just want them a little more from Deontay and Claypool, and then these young guys are going to learn and fit in.
How fast is Pickens? Is he a guy who just blow the top off your defense?
He projects as a number 1, so I guess.
4.47.
He's coming off that knee injury.
4.47. They've got, theoretically anyway, 50-50, combat catch winners. You'd like to see Claypool get better at that. Pickens should be able to do that. They have maybe an ideal slot guy in Austin, right?
And Freiermuth, don't forget him.
And Freiermuth. They have a great, potentially great tight end. They have Deontay. You can do a little bit of all these things.
He can catch the ball.
And then maybe.
Hopefully not on 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage on 4th and 13, but okay.
That's the other story to be told here. They
ran out of plays that day. They just didn't have anything in the playbook.
Right, exactly. No more plays. Is that Ben got rid of the ball in 2 seconds or so. What's the guarantee that won't be the same? Part of that was because the offensive line stunk and he was going to get hit, right?
Right.
But what about part of that just being Ben making reads that maybe younger guys won't be able to make? What about what if these guys hold the ball too long
then they may get
and wound up getting crushed?
They may get hit into next week.
Then they're going to get told to get rid of it in 2 seconds.
Exactly. It's a different game. For all Pickett did great, it's a different game in the NFL. We'll see. I'm not saying guys don't make the adjustment. Look at Joe Burrow. Young guys coming in, but it's a different game and a faster game.